What's up? We're back for chapter 4. I'm filming this on the same day because I read this the same day. So if you're thinking he's in the exact same spot with the exact same clothes on from chapter 3, you would be correct because it's literally 5 seconds after I stopped filming chapter 3. So this one talks about fear and the cycle that fear puts you in and kind of puts you in this paralysis state of not being able to go achieve your goals. So I'm just going to kind of read this cycle that you don't want to ride that a lot of people do, including myself. I've definitely been in instances where I do this. So your fear leads to inaction, leads to inexperience, which leads to your inability to do the thing you want to do, which leads all the way back to fear, and then you just keep going around this thing. So you want to do this thing, right? You want to get really, really good at wrestling, but you fear you're going to fail. So you don't go to practice a whole bunch, which is inaction, which causes you to be inexperienced in wrestling, which causes you to have the inability to win matches that you want to win, which then sends you right back to fearing big moments in wrestling, and then you keep going through that cycle, and you can replace wrestling with anything, right? So fear of failure stops forward progress. Paralysis, obviously not doing anything. You know, a lot of people are scared to fail at X thing, so they never even start that thing, and you just sit there and you never ever start it. Procrastination, that kind of goes with paralysis, is we see this thing but we're afraid that we don't know what we're doing, or we don't know how to do it or how to get started, and so we procrastinate. I think everyone has kind of that in their life. I have it a little bit. I have it a lot of bit, honestly. I've wanted to do YouTube more consistently for a while now, and I just kind of procrastinate and set it off. So this book kind of called me out on it, and now I'm back to it. So hopefully I can keep with it. Then purposelessness, we sit there as we procrastinate. We have this paralysis of not doing anything. We feel this like lack of purposefulness in the world, and it kind of sets us in this slump of like we know what we should be doing, but we're not doing it. And then we just think to ourselves, "Oh, you're a piece of crap," stuff like that. And like not great thoughts about ourselves, and that doesn't help with our fear, paralysis, and procrastination. So that looks like self-pity, excuses, misused energy, hopelessness. So this misused energy is kind of a good one. I'll just read it for you. Constant fear divides the mind and causes a person to lose focus. If he is going in too many directions at once, he doesn't get anywhere. It's comparable to stomping the gas pedal of a car that's in neutral. So obviously we've probably all hit, the pedal while the car's in neutral. It just revs up. And there's a lot of energy in the motor, but nothing's happening. You're just kind of burning where you're at. So, and then hopelessness, if allowed to run their course, continual fear and inaction rob a person of hope. And poet Henry Wilson Longfellow described the situation in this way: the setting of a great hope is like the setting of the sun. The brightness of our life is gone. The setting of a great hope is like the setting of the sun. The brightness of our life is gone. I don't really understand that one, but I guess he said it. And so now we ask the question, how do we break ourselves of this cycle? And it just talks about action. Okay, you can be, everyone's felt motivation to do the next thing that they want to do, or we go to bed one night, we're laying in bed and we're like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and take action, right? And then that motivation by morning is gone, and action is what's going to set you in motion, and and then once you catch those waves of motivation, it's going to make it easier and easier and easier. But it needs to start from action, because motivation a lot of times isn't enough to get us going. Motivation just keeps us going once we're going. But, that start is the hardest thing. So make sure you're starting on whatever you're getting going. Get moving, build momentum, make mistakes, move on. That's kind of what they talk about in this chapter. And they give a couple examples of it. They talk about, I guess there was a guy that originally was going to invent the airplane. He got this funding from the government. He's like this big mathematician. He just kept failing over and over and over and over, and eventually his failures led him to stop. And then literally, I think it said a week later, the Wright brothers made their first airplane. And he just had all this scrutiny and expectation on him, where the Wright brothers really didn't, it sounded like. And so it's like they could just fail over and over and over, and really they were the only ones to see it, where this guy was failing publicly. And it's like he just needed to keep going and not give up, because he was close. What else we got here? And then he just gives you some questions to take action and reduce your fear. What objective is essential to your success? What objective essential to your success are you most afraid of tackling right now? So what are you most afraid of doing towards whatever you want to do? You answer that question. And then the only way to get going is to face fear and act. Write down all your fears associated with activity. Examine your list and accept the fact that you are afraid. Determine what the first step you can take to get started on achieving that objective. Doesn't matter whether it's small or large, just do it. If you fail at it, do it again. Keep trying until you accomplish that first step. Then figure out what the next step is and repeat that process. And then the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. So steps failing forward. This is kind of going through the chapters that we've already read. Realize there is one major difference between average people and achieving people. That's chapter 1. Learn a new definition of failure. That's chapter 2. Remove the you from failure. That's chapter 3. Take action and reduce your fear. That's chapter 4. So if you haven't watched those videos on those chapters or haven't read the book, I'd highly recommend doing that. You can find them on my page. There's chapters 1, 2, and 3, and you're obviously watching 4. And if you want to read along with these, I highly recommend that as well, because it probably give you a little bit more understanding. The book goes a little bit more in depth than what I talk about, but I feel like this is some good information. I feel like I'm getting better at these videos, and I got to keep making them, and I got to do exactly what this book is saying with my YouTube and just keep at it. So I appreciate you guys watching. Likes and subscribes obviously help the channel. I appreciate you if you share it with a friend or anything like that, and we'll see you next time.